My laptop was vibrating on the desk because I had too many tabs open again. It felt like I was trying to run a space station on a budget. We have all reached that point where our browser feels more like a burden than a tool. It eats up all our memory and leaves us with a machine that runs hot enough to cook an egg. That is the moment I started seeing everyone talk about Zen Browser. People are actually walking away from the big names in tech for this. I found myself deep in a rabbit hole of internet comments at 2 in the morning. Grown adults were arguing about the placement of vertical tabs like it was a life or death situation. It sounds extreme until you actually open the program. The design hits you immediately. It is incredibly clean. It feels like someone finally decided that we do not need 1,000 buttons screaming for our attention every second. The interface is built around this idea of a quiet workspace. You get these vertical tabs that stay out of your way. They actually make your screen feel larger and less cluttered. One user described it as a minimalist desk setup turned into software. I spent days putting it through the ringer. I opened dozens of windows and ran multiple video streams. I used the split view feature to keep my notes right next to my research. It felt refreshing. It felt like I was finally in control of my workflow instead of fighting against it. The sidebar is especially clever. It stays hidden until you hover over it. That tiny change makes your screen feel so much more open. But I have to be honest about the downsides too. Not everyone in the community is sold on it yet. There are plenty of people who say the performance still cannot compete with the massive browsers we have used for years. It is based on the foundations of Firefox, which means it handles things differently. If you try to load it down with every extension under the sun, you might run into some glitches. Some users have pointed out that it can feel a bit sluggish during heavy lifting. One person even called it a beautiful browser that occasionally trips over its own feet. That kind of honesty is why I trust the people using it. They're not looking for perfection. They're looking for a browser that treats them like a human being. It does not feel like a giant corporation is standing behind you taking notes on your behavior for advertisers. It feels personal and intentional. You are trading that raw, aggressive speed for a layout that actually helps you. For creators and power users who are drowning in a sea of tabs, this is a massive shift. It is about making the act of browsing the web enjoyable again. If you need absolute maximum speed above all else, you might stay where you are. But if you want a space that feels calm and organized, this is where the world is moving. It is a breath of fresh air in a very crowded room. It is not trying to beat the giants at their own game. It is trying to change the game entirely. When your screen normally looks like mission control during a crisis, having a browser that stays out of your way is a revelation. The tools for multitasking actually feel built in, rather than bolted on, as an afterthought. You can tell it was made by people who actually spend their whole lives online. It is for the person who wants their software to feel like a well-organized physical desk. That transition might be a bit bumpy at first, but the mental clarity you get in return is worth the effort